on computer. Okay, so we're recording. So people are probably just going to start popping on as they can. Saturday's a little bit different for people, especially because it's the weekend.
Yeah.
So if for anyone who doesn't know myself or Casey, I'm Angela Knight. I shared this with a couple team pages. And I have asked Casey, Triple Diamond Casey, soon to be presidential, to come on and talk to us about how she popped into the top 150 income earners. I think she's like, what are you now? Over 100 for sure.
106.
Oh, 106. Pretty freaking close. So Casey and I don't know, I can't remember how we met, honestly, but we became friends a couple years ago now. And one thing I can strongly recommend to you guys is reaching out to people, because Casey and I have nothing to do with each other's business. But we became really good friends, and we work together quite often, and we, bounce ideas back off of each other. So reaching out to people is such a great idea, you guys, because I learned so much from Casey. So I'm going to hand it over to her. What she's going to talk to you guys about today is she's going to quickly share her story, who she is, what she's doing with her life now, where she came from, and then she's going to talk to us about how she enrolls mass enrollments for distributors, FSQs them, and what got her into the top 150. So take it away, Casey.
Okay, so my name is Casey Brookover. As she said, I am a triple diamond, but I prefer to call myself a pending presidential. I'm very close to presidential. I'm just that close. So I'm just going to go ahead and speak that on into existence. Thank you guys for hopping on here with me today. I know it's kind of a funny time of the day, and my stupid light won't stay on, so my face is kind of dark. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, so I started with It Works 3 years ago. I was an elementary school teacher, and I had no plans of changing careers. I had no plans of even looking into anything else. Let me turn my light on real quick. It's like super dark on my face. Hold on. I don't know if that'll help or not, but maybe just a little. So I had no intentions of, I didn't give a crap about network marketing or anybody that sold things on social media. I was that person. So if you have that person on your Facebook, just be patient with them, because they could be your biggest runner, right, Kelsey? So I had my first baby, and everything changed, and I really wanted to be with him all day, every day. But we had 3 different student loans. We had multiple credit cards from what the student loans didn't cover from when my husband and I were in college. And we had a mortgage payment. We had 2 car payments. We had debt out the rear. That's what we're taught to do, right? Nowadays, in 2019, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job that just barely pays your bills, and you work until you pay off your debt, and then you die. At least that's what it feels like. So I was living that life, and so I had my first baby. Really wanted to stay home, but that just wasn't feasible for us. And so at the time, I was working about 25 minutes away from home, and that was really hard on me, being that far away from him. Not only could I not stay home with him, but I was further away than I really wanted to be. So I applied, and I ended up getting hired closer to home. Luckily, I was very fortunate, and I was super excited about that. My first year teaching in that new school, we heard rumors that there were going to be jobs cut, but we didn't know whose. I knew my job was in danger, but whatever. So my principal called me into his office in March. I'm pretty sure it was the end of March, which you guys know the school year ends in like June. So there was still a good bit of time left. Pulls me into his office, and he's like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know our health teacher's job has been cut." So I was like, "Phew." But our health teacher has seniority over you, so she has the choice to lose her job or to take yours, and she's going to take yours. So you're losing your job. Not only are you losing your job, but you don't have another one. You're going to have to completely reapply and get rehired somewhere. But I have high hopes, blah, blah, blah. I'll give you the best of, reviews and whatnot. He said all the things that he needed to say to keep me from sitting in his office and crying, but it didn't work. So I sat there like an idiot and just sobbed, like, what has my life come to? So I felt really devastated that not only I was losing my job, but I had worked so hard to try to get hired closer to home so I could be closer to my baby. And it was just like up and taken away from me, even though I didn't do anything wrong. So I applied. I started applying to other places, and nothing was happening very quickly. At that time, I had been watching someone local to me just kill it with her business and social media. And the thing is, we live in a really small area. I'll say that again. We live in a really small area with people that have smaller minds when it comes to network marketing. Everyone in our area has done it, has an opinion about it, hasn't worked. It failed them. They didn't fail. They did all the things. That's not true. Except for this one girl. And everybody knew who she was because she was the one person that made it work. So that's how I knew who she was. And I had been kind of secretly watching her for a year, but not watching her necessarily with the intentions of joining her, but just watching her, I don't know. It was just kind of fascinating because she was that one person that had made something of it. So when I lost my job and I had a solid 2-week pity party, it was a while longer than it really should have been. Finally, I realized one day, this is really dumb. I need to figure out what I'm going to do, and I need to figure it out now. So I don't remember doing this, but somebody recently told me that I made a post on my Facebook, which I would really love to dig back and find that, saying something about I'm looking for ways to make money from home. And even though I had been watching her, I hadn't reached out to her. And apparently a whole bunch of people commented, Kelsey Olive, Kelsey Olive, Kelsey Olive, and they started tagging her. I don't even remember that. Kelsey, do you remember that? So I was like, all right, I'll reach out to her. So I reached out to her. I said, give me your spiel, tell me your story, whatever, tell me your thing. I don't remember that. That's funny. And I was just like, tell me your stuff, whatever. I'm really not even sure that this is a me thing. And before that, I had even made posts like, I am so proud to say I lost all of my baby weight and I didn't have to wrap anything. I didn't have to take anything. And like, it was such a direct hit at people that do what we do. I was such an asshole. Anyway, so I reached out to her and she gave me, she told me everything I wanted to know. She answered all of my questions and I was like, okay, thanks. And for 2 weeks, I just sat on that information because I told myself a million reasons why I couldn't do it, why I shouldn't do it. All of my background, all of my experience was with education and teaching. I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about social media. I knew nothing about sales. I knew nothing about nothing, basically. So at the end of the 2 weeks, again, I had a nice, it's like God just smacked me in the head, like, hello, are you really praying for an opportunity? And I send you something and you're like, no, I can't do that. Really dumb, right? And I realized, sitting on this is getting me nowhere. I'm making $0 sitting on this information. If I try it and I fail, I'm going to make $0 anyway. So why not? Why not just jump in? So luckily I did have a supportive husband. I do have a supportive husband. He wasn't jumping for joy, but he wasn't telling me I shouldn't do it. He was just like, I'll support whatever you want to do. So I jumped in. And I was like, I don't know what the French I'm doing, but this is kind of fun. I'll figure it out along the way. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's still okay to just be figuring it out. Angela will tell you, Kelsey will tell you, we still don't know what we're doing half the time, but we figure it out, right? We just make it work. So, you know what? When I first jumped in, if you're new, I really want you to hear this. When I first jumped in, you know what I did to be successful? I did what my enroller told me to do. Because I knew that they knew what they were talking about. I did what my upline said that I needed to do daily to be successful. Because if they were where they were and they were making more money than me, obviously they knew more than I did. I listened to what they told me to do, even if I was like, I don't know why you're telling me to do this. I'm not comfortable doing this. Whatever my excuse was, I freaking did it anyway. I did it anyway. And eventually it just became routine and it didn't feel uncomfortable anymore. It didn't feel weird anymore. It was just a part of my new job. I was very fortunate to get rehired within my same school where I lost my job, but in a different position. So I went back to school, work, I went back to work and I started working again, but I did not quit with my business because I thought if I can do this whenever I want and I can make extra money, why would I stop doing this? So there for a long time, I worked full time. I worked full time through the end of that school year. I had to work from April when I joined through mid-June. Then I had the summer to apply, finally got rehired. Then I started another school year and I was still working full time. I had an 18-month-old baby at home. I was, involved in my church. I was involved in other activities and stuff. I didn't just sit on my phone all day long. 2 months in, I went Ruby and I earned a $500 bonus. 6 months in, I went Diamond. Right about the time that I went Diamond, I was pregnant with our second child, which both of my children are just a complete freaking miracle because I have so many issues that I've been told since I was 13 years old, if you can get pregnant, it's going to be very difficult. Well, lo and behold, I guess my husband and I can just look at each other and I get pregnant. It's kind of not a good thing. But I have problems keeping them in. That's where the problem is. I went on bed rest at 30 weeks with my son, like strict bed rest, like legit, you guys. I was allowed to get up to pee and shower like once or twice a week. If somebody came to my front door, I wasn't allowed to answer it. If my dog had to go outside and nobody was home, I had to let her just go on the floor. I wasn't allowed to make my own meals. So when we got pregnant with our second child, I was automatically deemed high risk. And that was right about the time that I started back at school. So fast forward to November of that year, I was 19 weeks pregnant. I was taking weekly injections to make sure I wasn't going into preterm labor like I did with my little boy. And even though we were doing all of these things and I was trying to stay healthy and trying to stay off of my feet as much as I could at work as a teacher, which is impossible, I started having contractions daily. And finally one day I called my doctor and I was like, all right, I'm having contractions. I think maybe I should get checked out. I've been avoiding telling you. So of course my doctor was like, what? That next day I went to the doctor's office. My doctor said, you cannot go back to work. I know it's only November. I know you're a teacher. You cannot go back to work as long as you're pregnant because it's obvious that because you're on your feet so much, that's what's causing you to have contractions and you're putting yourself and your unborn baby at risk. I was 19 weeks pregnant, you guys. 19 weeks. Not even into my third trimester. I mean, not even halfway through. Well, for me it was because I never make it to 40 weeks. But anyway, that was the second time that it works in my business was there to catch my fall. The first time it was when I signed up and I lost my job and I was like screwed beyond screwed. The second time I got rehired, but then my doctor was like, yeah, no, that's not happening. You're not going back into work tomorrow. I need you to call your principal like now and figure this out. So I didn't go back to work. That gave me a lot of time to stay home and work my business because, what else are you going to do when you're on bed rest? And I'm really happy to say that at the end of that school year, at the end of my maternity leave, I didn't go back to work. What I did was I went to the Board of Education. I said, thank you for everything you've done for me. Here's my resignation paper. And I'm now going to stay home with my kids where I belong. And ever since then, like, life has just been so different. It feels so good for people so often to come up to me and say, you have such well-mannered kids. They are such good children. And I just want to say real quick, this is not a knock at anybody that has kids that go to daycare or kids that go to a babysitter or kids that whatever it may be, because I was that mom. But I really feel like me being home full time has really shaped my children to be the people that they are. I don't have to worry about the other people that are raising them at a daycare or a babysitter or whatever it may be. And they're, whoever they are, the quality people they are, because they're raising my children too. I really feel like a lot of that has to do with that I was so fortunate enough to stay home and I'm the one raising my kids now. And again, if you have a kid that goes to a daycare or goes to a babysitter or something, like, more power to you. Sometimes I wish I could just like get rid of mine for the day and just work, okay? But, I've really come to realize that recently. So in 3 years now with my business, I have just done so much. Remember all those student loans I said we had? We paid them off, every last dime of them. Remember all those credit cards I said we had? We paid them off, every last dime of them. This month we're paying off my husband's car in full. We bought a new house. Actually, we bought 2 new houses. We built one, moved in, hated it, turned around, sold it, and bought another one because we could. I don't even know how many trips we've gone on as a family this year. And just the options that this has allowed me to have because I've worked hard at it day in and day out is just mind-blowing. The life that I'm living, I never would have lived if I would have just continued to be a teacher and not given myself the opportunity to work this business. But I also wouldn't have this life if I wouldn't have worked my business. Hear that? Because every single person on here, you're already in the business. I'm not here just because I joined. I'm here because I joined and I busted my ass to get to where I am. So I'm now a triple diamond, pending presidential. Last year at conference, this is kind of a funny story. I'll end on this. In January, I promoted to triple diamond on the last day of the year, December 31st. That was batshit crazy in itself. January, I looked at my husband one day and I said, I think I want to take our little boy on a date night. Just me and him. Don't look at me, Kelsey. And I said, I want to take him on a date because all of last month was so stressful with his birthday. It was my little boy's birthday. With Christmas, we both have very big families. Both of us come from divorced families, so that just makes it even more of a shit show, right? For holidays, who can relate to that? And, you know, all of the things that come with that. And I promoted to triple diamond on top of it. Like, shoot me in the face. I will never do that again. But so I said in January, I think that I need to give him some one-on-one time. He needs some one-on-one time with me because I feel like I haven't given him a whole lot of time lately. I'm going to take him to dinner tonight. Oh, no. I said tomorrow night. And we're just going to do whatever he wants to do, just the two of us. My husband was like, okay, I think that's a great idea. Well, that night my mom called me and said, hey, I would love to have the kids for a couple hours tomorrow night. Do you and your husband want to go on a date or something like that? And I was like, no. I already told him I'm going to take Weston out. We're going to do our thing. And I hung up, and that was that. And then I thought, you know what? I haven't told Weston that I'm going to take him out yet. And how often do I get the opportunity to just go do whatever I want with my husband? Not often. So I took that opportunity and I said, you know what? I'll take Weston on a date night the next night. So that next day we took our kids to my mom's house, even though I was supposed to be out with just my little boy and I. My husband and I went to Olive Garden for dinner. I will never, ever forget this, you know, swanky, bougie Olive Garden. So here we are sitting at a table, and I got the notification from the Facebook group that I'm in for the VIP Leaders and Above, the Lifers page, that the emails were going to be going out that night about the boat trip, you know, the yacht from conference this year. And I was like dying. I wanted on that yacht more than anything in life. I'm one of those people that you put a dangle bone in front of me, I'm going to run until I get it. Like right now, Costa Rica is my jam, you guys. I am going to Costa Rica. So I had worked so hard and I wanted on that yacht. I wanted that invite so freaking bad, more than life itself. So here we are sitting at dinner, my husband and I. Remember, I was supposed to be with my little boy. This is such a God moment, you guys. And I'm just like watching my phone. We just ordered our food and I'm like dying for this email. Like every 2 seconds, somebody's phone goes off a mile away and I'm like, you know, it's like up in my face. So finally I get an email. It says it's from corporate. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got an email. I look at it. And I'm not a crier, you guys. Like, it takes a lot to cry. Like, you either really got to piss me off or you really got to upset me or something. I set my phone down on the table. I put my hands over my face, and I sat there in the middle of the Olive Garden and bawled, just cried. And my husband said, what is it? What does it say? Did you get the invite for the boat? And I said, forget the invite for the boat. I'm in the top 150. I had no idea because I got paid as a double diamond all year last year. I didn't promote to triple until the 31st. So my first triple check was in January. So here I am just thinking I've been working my tail off trying to get to triple to get on that boat. And, you know, and I got an email saying I was in the top 150 and I just cried. I went to the bathroom. I called Kelsey and then I got in my leaders chat and I turned on my video chat with like all of my Emerald and Above leaders on my team, just like crying like a dumbass in the Olive Garden bathroom. And it was like, I will never forget that day. And that feeling, oh man, that feeling is indescribable. So it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you've been, what's happened with your business. You can still turn things around. Even if things are going great, you can still continue to go up. Because the year before that was a really rough year for me. And I just kind of sat with my business and didn't do crap. In January of last year, I was paid as a low paid diamond, and I was barely holding on to that. And by the end of the year, I had promoted my husband. He was a ruby. I promoted him to double diamond, and I promoted myself to triple, and I got in the top 150. So it doesn't matter where you've been, what's going on, what you're doing, anything can happen, and it can happen fast too. So just know that. Now you want me to talk about enrolling distributors? Do you have questions, or you want me to just keep rambling? I mean, clearly I have no problem with that.
Sorry, I forgot I was muted. I was like, I was just like totally in like, oh, okay, that's such an amazing part. Oh my God, I knew that happened at that night, but I didn't really know the story. So that's amazing. Oh, I cannot wait.
I love that story.
Seriously, such a good story. So, okay, so basically, can you fill us in on, what was I saying to you the other day? About how your fast starts, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but your fast starts combine with your commissions and any way that you get paid to get yourselves into the top 150. So it's not just your commission.
No.
So can you explain to us, what your month looks like? Do you focus more on loyals now? Do you focus more on distributors? When you get a distributor, is it all on you to try to FS people right away? Are you more of like a leader that's like, I'm going to try, I give them a co-sponsor and they work together in the 400 Club? Kind of give us an insight on what you personally do and what because I know that you changed your business when it came to fast starts and distributors, which is what changed you and your whole dynamic of how you boosted up into the income.
Yep, absolutely. So before my crazy year last year, I was a mass loyal customer enroller, like every single month. Every single month I was enrolling like stupid amounts of loyal customers, but I was just enrolling enough distributors to get my steps to success once. Twice would have been like amazing. I always completed my steps to success, but it's like once I signed that third distributor, I was like, oh, it's over. Don't have to worry about the steps to success again until next month. So when I had that kind of like still moment in my business where I just felt like I was stuck, it was my own fault I was stuck. It was nobody else's. It wasn't my team's. It wasn't my husband's. It wasn't anybody else's but mine. I had to kind of sit back and reflect. Why can I enroll so many customers, but I can't enroll that same amount of distributors? Like, why? And when I really sat back and like totally dissected my business, I realized I was spending so much time talking to people about products, posting about products, messaging about products, putting my story about products. I was all about products. Well, duh, Kasey, if you're all about products, you're gonna get lots of customers. I wasn't talking nearly enough about my business or the opportunity, or anything of that sort. I was spending so much of my time and energy on getting customers. So at that point, I realized I need to figure out what I'm doing to get customers. I need to take those same things and do that towards talking to people about the business and to get distributors. And it wasn't just a simple shift of, oh, I'm doing this, I just need to do this, but instead of products, do about business. I mean, it was that, but at the same time, I got to work. Like, it's no coincidence that people that are that are professionals, that they have continuing education. Continuing education is to continue to learn more and more and more, because no matter what your business or your industry is, it's always changing and always evolving. And the same goes for us too. If you aren't constantly learning, you're not constantly bettering yourself in your business. So when I realized that I needed to do a lot more work and figure out how to enroll more distributors, I didn't wait around for a Zoom. I didn't wait around for someone to post something about how I could enroll more distributors. I went straight to YouTube and watched a booty ton of videos. That's Kelsey Ullum's word, booty ton. That's how many I watched. And so many people would be like, what video was it that you watched? I don't freaking know, because I watched 4 million of them. I watched every video about mass enrolling distributors, or just enrolling distributors in general, that I could get my hands on, because it wasn't up to anybody else to pour into me to help me learn these things. It was up to me to figure it out. It was nobody else's responsibility. So my best way that I learn is by watching. I'm a very visual person, so I went to YouTube, I watched a stupid amount of videos, and I figured it out. I started applying the things that I was learning from those YouTube videos to my business every single day. The things that I didn't like or didn't work for me, to hell with them. The things that worked for me and that I liked and that I was good at, I did more of them and more of them and more of them until I felt like I had almost perfected them, and then I just continued doing them every single day. When I did that, when I had this realization, it was like November-ish. I remember it was right around Black Friday. I don't know why that was so significant about it. Around November, the end of November of 2017. That month, I think I enrolled 3 or 4 distributors. The next month in December, I enrolled like 6, and I was like feeling really good about it. But I was continuing to work my butt off to figure out how to enroll tons of people, like, to provide the opportunity to tons of people. The following month, January of 2018, which is a month that everyone's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so broke. And that's when people think they're going to sign a lot of customers because people are like, New Year's resolutions and whatnot. I enrolled 18 distributors that month, $499, I will add, and I was the number 3 distributor enroller in the whole company. 2 months before that, I was barely hanging on to my steps to success. 2 months, you guys, it wasn't even a full 2 months. It was Black Friday, like a month and a week. So all I did was I just figured out what I needed to do and I got to work. So when I enrolled distributors, I actually recently just changed this because I felt like I could have been doing better and better. When I do enroll distributors, I make sure immediately I'm getting them in. Immediately. I'm not waiting for them to get their kit. I'm not waiting for them to come to me. I'm like, okay, here's your first couple steps. Here's what we're going to do. This is your goal. The first thing that I tell them is your goal, our goal. Actually, I say our goal. I don't want them to think everything is you. I want them to know that it's us. I'm working with them. Our goal is to get you, and I don't say 4, I say 5. I overshoot it. 5 customers in your first 30 days. Sound good? And then we get to work. I teach them about posting. I teach them about messaging. I teach them about expanding their network, because those are the 3 things that I think are the most fundamental things of your business. If you do nothing every day, in my opinion, you should post, you should message, and you should expand your network by adding friends. I teach them those 3 things, and I try to keep it as simple as I can with getting them the information that I think that they need to know. I do co-sponsor them now. I hadn't been, because sometimes Kasey thinks she can do everything. And guess what, you guys? Kasey can't do everything. So I was getting very overwhelmed with having so many new distributors and only one of me. So I do introduce them to, I call it a mentor. Because if I'm like, this is your co-sponsor or whatever, it might confuse the crap out of people. But if I'm like, hey, this is my good friend, and she's going to be your mentor, and you're going to have both of us that are here to help you from now on, that's more of like an everyday language and not a business language. If they just jumped in, they're not going to know what a co-sponsor is.
Sorry, let me just, so a question on that though. So you introduce, how soon do you think you introduce them?
It's either day 2 or day 3.
Day 2 or day 3. Yeah. Okay, cool. And Shanna, I see your hand is raised. Do you want to just put it in the chat? Anyway, sorry.
So if you have a question, you can just leave it in the chat, and after I'm done, just spewing a whole bunch of information at you guys, I'll check that and I'll answer whatever you have to ask. So I let them know their goal, I get them started, but I don't wait for people to fast start qualify themselves, because I can enroll customers really well. What I do to make sure I'm finding a good balance between customers and distributors every single month, you guys, I do this every month. The 1st to the 15th, I focus on nothing but distributors and talking to people about the business. Nothing. I've actually stopped even doing host to post, and I'm like a host to post queen, you guys. Host to post is my jam. I've completely stopped doing host to post because I felt like it was taking away from my time that I could have been talking to people about the business until the 16th through the end of the month. That's when I focus on customers and host to post and volume and all of that. Because, well, there's multiple reasons. Number 1, if I have that balance and I know this is the date, these are the dates that I'm focusing on the distributors, and these are the dates that I'm focusing on customers, it feels less chaotic to me. the simpler it is to me, the easier it is on my mind, truthfully. And if I'm not like, well, I got to get distributors today. Oh, but I also got to get customers. But, you know, if I'm like constantly trying to keep up with both, it's stressful to me. But if I know this is when I'm going to focus on this and this is when I'm going to focus on this, it just kind of works out for me. But also because I'm trying to put the horse before the cart, not the cart before the horse. So if I get distributors first and customers next, I can use those customers to fast start qualify the distributors I already got. But if I'm focusing customers first and then distributors, it's kind of backwards. You could do it the following month when you focus on customers, but to me, that's basically what I do. What do we always push for at the end of the month? Volume usually, right? So why not make that when you're pushing for customers to fast start qualify the distributors that you got at the beginning of the month? Excuse me. So I tell them their goal. I tell them that, you know, the process of how we're going to do this and try to get them their first couple customers or whatever. I don't wait for them to fast start qualify themselves. I don't say this to toot my own horn, but I do not know the last time that I did not have a distributor that was fast start qualified. And I have signed a really dumb amount of distributors the last 2 months. I think last month I had 16, the month before I had 22. And that's one of the reasons that I got in the top 150 as a double diamond. I made over 5 figures last year just in fast start bonuses. So I made over $10,000 in just fast start bonuses alone in 2018. And it's because I changed this system. I started focusing on lots of distributors because I knew that the customers would come easy for me, and I didn't wait for those distributors to fast start qualify themselves. And one other thing I would like to say is, before this whole magical thing happened in my business, I wasn't organized at all. Like, I would have things here, I'd have things there, I'd have like random post-it notes wherever, and I would have my enrollments written on a notepad in another room, and like, that just didn't work for me. I got myself a home office. Welcome. I got myself a home office. And if you don't have a whole room in your house to dedicate to your office, just find a space. Even if it's in the corner of your bedroom, find a space that you can dedicate to your business. I came up with systems to keep myself organized. When I enroll distributors, I write it down on this checklist. And like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, this is my personal system. Like, it's just a me thing. Like, on day 1, I talk to them about something. On day 2, you know, this is where I break it down for them. And when I finish those days, I highlight their names. I have another sheet where I write their names down whenever I enroll them, and I check off each customer they have, and I write in the middle what their current volume is in their first 30 days to make sure that they get fast start qualified. So if you have a business that is not organized, you're not going to be as successful. You have to find some sort of organization. And just because I've got an organization set up doesn't mean that that's what's going to work for you. You have to figure out what organization structure is going to work for you. You and you alone are the only one that can figure that out for you. So Roxanne says, what are you messaging for distributors? I do message a little bit for distributors, but I do a lot of lifestyle posting. I actually, if you go to my page, it will be, I won't say difficult, it will be harder for you to find product posts. I only post about products a couple days a month, and it's usually not until after the 15th, because I do a buttload of host-to-post. So I use everybody else's page for posting about products, and I use my own page for posting about the business. But, you know, I do still post about products here and there, usually towards the end of the month. So a lot of my distributors come from lifestyle posts. Another thing that I do, I have this really twisted host-to-post system, but it works. So you're going to want to write this down. So every month I get people to do host-to-post for me. Lots of people. I ask lots and lots of people to do host-to-post. There was one month a few months ago I had like 300, and it was friggin' psycho. But you know, as many as you can get, as many host-to-posts as you can do.
Sorry, let me ask a question quick, because I do have something just like dinging in my brain.
Interrupt me anytime you need to.
When you do your host-to-post, because I know you do a lot of host-to-posts, because when we're promoting and I'm messaging you, it's like 30 up a day, if not more. For my question personally is with your Facebook network, obviously we can only have 5,000 friends. Eventually I tap out of people to ask to host posts with me. So how often do you think that you are going through your Facebook, deleting people and getting a new network? Or do you have a different, like, are you doing something, like, where are you getting these people from? And how often are you updating your network?
Right now I'm doing a mass network update, but I probably only do that like once every 4 to 6 months. Okay, so this is part of my host to post system, actually. Not the whole expanding my network thing, but how I make host to post work. Host to post for me is like, you know what the recycling sign looks like? It's just like a whole bunch of arrows. That's host to post for me. So let me tell you my system real quick. And if I didn't answer your question, I'm going to need you to ask it again at the end of that, because I think this might answer your question. So I ask people to host a post. They put the post up. You know, from that, people comment. And they order as a customer or they don't. However, when people are like the very last thing, I mean the last thing that I say, either I've already got their information or they're like on the, I'm about to send them the link to order, I pitch them the business. I talk to them, hey, I don't know if you're even interested in this, but quick question, what would you think about maybe using these products and getting paid for it? And I can show you how you can get these products for free in your first month too. That's just like a totally general idea of what I say. But the last thing I do before I enroll a customer, I do pitch them the business, because number one, I should be doing it anyway. I might be able to get them as a distributor. I signed a distributor last night that last month was supposed to sign up as a customer for a host to post. And then I asked her about the business and she said, yes, she was interested. I gave her my spiel about the business and we set a date and she signed up last night. But even if they say no and you got the fallback is they're going to be a customer anyway, you've already planted that idea about them being a distributor in their mind. So even if they say no, that thought's already there. And it's going to continue, they're going to continue to think about it. So when people comment on a host to post, they're either an enrollment or they're not, right? So the following month, the people that did not become an enrollment for me, I go through my previous month's host to post. Anyone that commented and they did not become an enrollment, I ask them to do a host to post. So anyone that commented from the previous month and they did not become a customer or a distributor, I ask them to do a host to post, because guess what? Next month, I'm going to ask them to be a distributor, because when I go back to my host to post from the following month, the person that posted it, I pitched them the business, because I'm like, basically what you did by posting for me is what I do, but I get paid for it. Do you want me to send you some info? I pitched them the business, but then I ask everyone that commented on their post if they'll put up a host to post for me. And then the next month, it's just going to be the next thing. So if they've commented, they put up a host to post, and the next month, they're the one that I'm asking about the business. But their friends that commented, I'm asking them to do a host to post. Does that make sense? Like, it's kind of complicated, and then there was something else I was going to say.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's totally like I see what you mean by the recycling.
Yeah. So the people that I'm bringing into my network by commenting on host to post, they're either going to become an enrollment or they're going to do a host to post. Oh, and when they do become a customer, I immediately after I put their order in, I send them their confirmation and everything, I immediately ask them to do a host to post, because next month I'm going to ask them to be a distributor again, because I already asked them before they placed their order. So like my whole system is revolving around host to post and distributors, but I'm also, I've got customers coming in with that as well.
I like that. That's good.
And then when I find people that I've just said a million things to and they just are wishy-washy or they don't ever reply, I delete them. I'm going through my stupid friends list right now, deleting a bunch of people because I keep hitting 5,000 over and over.
For sure. Awesome. That was so good. Yeah, I love all of that. So if anyone else has any questions they want to ask, no question is stupid. Honestly, like, don't be embarrassed or afraid to ask anything. That's what these are for. Put it in the chat. And if not, we will let Kasey finish her day and let everyone else do their thing. But otherwise, Kasey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know I've been bugging you to get you on here.
I don't know. I feel like I've been dodging you. I'm so sorry.
So curious as to what you're doing. So, Sarah says, what's your favorite post?
I knew that question was going to be asked. Okay, so I'm not going to answer this directly. The host to post I do, I actually created myself. And I haven't shared it with anyone. I mean, Kelsey's on here. I won't even tell her my host post. It makes me feel like a giant pile of dog crap. The reason I don't share it is because it's working so well for me. The reason
no, for sure. I get it.
Is because nobody else is using it. So if you're using the same host post that everybody else is, it's probably not going to work for you. So here's my answer to your question, Sarah. No, I'm not going to tell you, but I am going to tell you what I did to get a good host post. So I took a host post. I just do Thermophyte X all the time. That's all I do. I took a Thermophyte X host post that I kind of liked, and I could just like completely reworded it basically. And on top of that, I made it short enough that I could ask people to post it with a colored background. Kelsey, my enroller, actually taught me that. So I'll say, okay, if you could please, and I ask them specifically not to tag me. If you don't know why, I actually have a YouTube video that explains it perfectly. Go look up no tag post or something like that.
It's in our team page already. So all you guys need to do is go to the team page, hit the search, and then type Kasey's name in.
So I asked people, don't post me, and I asked them to put up the post with the colored background. I did have to play around with it first to make sure that the one that I had created was short enough to be used with a colored background. But when I made my own, I did those things, my host posts get like tons of comments. And I feel horrible not sharing it with my team because of course I want everyone to be successful. Like I'm an open book. I would totally tell you anything you want to know that I do right now in the world other than what my host post is.
And that's totally fine because I've been there too. Like there's things that work for me that I don't always share.
Right.
It's just because you guys need to, like, a lot of times people are like, well, why wouldn't you share? But the fact of the matter is this type of business, it's about thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
In order for things to work for you, you have to think outside the box. And if we share every single thing that works for us, guess what? It's not going to work for us anymore. And so those are like those little nuggets that you're like, I'll explain to you, but I can't tell you exactly. So I totally get it. So I'm going to end this with Lynn's question. She just wants to know, how are you explaining the business to them? What do you focus on telling them? Like, are you basically keeping it short and sweet? Do you have like your own little blurb that you have on like, what is that called? The auto text or whatever that you just go to do, and it's like the same message. Like, what do you kind of do?
I use Android. I have an iPad. I love both the Apple and the Android systems, but I only like my Android phones. So text replacement for Android is very limited and only lets it be a certain amount of characters. So I can't do that. But what I do is there. That's my distributor verbiage right there. Oh, no, it's not. That's my distributor training. Shit.
Oh my God, you always have everything in like a Google Drive thing. You're so organized.
Scratch that, you guys. That's not what I meant to send. There it is. Okay, so that's just what I say to people. And people on my team even will be like, well, have you changed what you're saying to enroll more distributors? Nope. Just talk to more people and say the same damn thing over and over.
For sure. So I actually, guys, if you can't click on that or you don't want to lose it, I have just clicked on it so I can open it up. You guys can read it from Kasey. So you just kind of stick with the same thing each time.
Yep. I say that.
Do you find that you do like just text or do you do voice notes?
I suck at voice memos. I'm telling you, when I do voice messages, I'm telling you about the business, and the next thing I know, I'm telling you my life story, and my dog died 10 years ago, and really, really stupid shit. And I'm like, why am I talking about this right now? So I will word vomit more in a voice message than I will with just typing it out. So, I mean, sometimes I will just send a random voice message. Yeah, you should. Okay, so some of you are in the first document I sent, and that's not the right thing. If it says new distributor training at the top, that's not the right one.
The second one is the one that she sent.
And you should definitely be able to open it.
I can open it, so I just opened it so I can look at it after. But thank you so much, Kasey, for coming on here today. I really appreciate it. I know that everyone's time is so valuable. So, guys, if you have any other questions about this Zoom, you guys can go, if you jumped on late, you can watch it again. It's recording. I'm going to upload it to my YouTube and then I'll post it. Kasey, I'll send you a copy as well. So thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.